What's up guys, it's Julius, hippie with the hookup tackle. Today we're gonna talk about a technique that's been around for a long time, kind of a sleeper now that there's so many different applications being used for forward-facing sonar, and that's just a finesse swim bait. So let's talk about it.
Welcome to the hookup tackle.
Oh, what a stud.
Yeah. Look at that.
That was sick.
Cheers, my friends. Happy Sunday.
All right, guys, some breaking news.
What's this week at the hookup tackle?
What a beautiful post-spawn fish.
Look at that.
Look at that gut on that.
That's a nice fish. Most places, the water temperature is anywhere between the 40s, maybe in the 50s here, but a really good way to catch them is in what we call drains or ditches or some sort of funnel, right? In deep water. So that could be 20 all the way out to, maybe even 60, 70, 80 feet sometimes. And what happens is these schools of bait migrate into these ditches and those bass follow them in there and they suspend. The best way to target them is with something that you can keep above them, and that small swim bait, been around forever. Just so many different baits now and so many different heads. It's just a good way to stay finessey, 6, 8, maybe even 10-pound line sometimes if there's like, timber and stuff. But this applies for largemouth, spotted bass, smallmouth, they all eat it. It's just a really easy way to get a fish to bite, and it doesn't really take a lot of technique. So real quick, I'm just gonna run over a couple of my favorite picks. There's a million different options in this category, but we're just gonna show you a couple that I personally have confidence in. Of course, every day in, day out, I like a Keitech. So a 2.8 Keitech fat, or a 3.3 is kind of where I like to stay. Whites, rainbow shad, anything, electric shad in that category is what I like to stay in. Another really good one that's a little bit more finessey. It doesn't have a lot of body, doesn't, move a lot of water. It's just really, really subtle. And that's the Megabass Hazedong shad. And that's a 3-inch. Again, same colors. If you're getting these fish to rise up and you can see them and they're not really committing, this one doesn't disperse a lot of water and get some of those trickier fish to bite. Another one that I like, if I do want a little bit more of a rolling action, a little bit more displacement of the water, I like a Megabass Spark Shad, and that's because of that flat back and that flat nose. It allows it to roll on that ball head and just kind of, move a little bit more water. Still a little finessey tail, but it definitely acts a lot different than its little brother, the Hazedong Shad, and that's them side by side. So I'm gonna jump into gear, right? This is super simple fishing. I like a medium action spinning rod. That's that utility player, Daiwa Steez spinning rod. I use this rod for so many different things. And again, ball head swim bait, finesse swim bait, it shines. 20-pound braid or 18-pound braid, and 6 to 10-pound leader is kind of where I stay, but super simple, nothing crazy. 3,000 size reel. Most of the time I like to have 2 rods. If I'm doing this technique, I like, a Keitech and a Spark Shad. So just another rod I keep on my deck. That's a Megabass Valkyrie, 6'11" medium. So same thing, very similar. Everything stays the same, just so I have 2 and I can mix it up. So super simple gear, guys, nothing too crazy. Let's jump behind the console and ride around. We're here on a local lake of ours, and we're just gonna show you what I'm looking for, and this relates to a lot of places in the country. The fish kind of act the same and they position themselves. So hopefully this helps you on where to apply this bait. Let's go. All right guys, so I'm just gonna show you kind of what I look for here on my map. Typically off the main body. Sometimes if there's secondaries and creek channels, they'll get in there as well. But what I'm looking for is just a deep channel that has, you know, some big hardwoods, some timbers, something that the fish can stage on. So when that bait comes through, you know, they're set up to feed. Sometimes they'll get in just bare bone ditches. If the bait's there, then the fish are gonna go in there. But if there's some resident fish pulled out into some of those trees, they kind of sit there waiting for the bait to come by. So what I'll do before I fish a place, I'm gonna just kind of idle right down the center of it. I'm way out here deep in about, you know, 65, 67 feet of water. There's a step up here that goes out, you know, up to about 40. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm just seeing if there's bait. There's a couple schools of, you know, shad and threadfin in the middle, so it's starting to look good. Some boulders out here. Sometimes this particular place actually doesn't have a lot of timber, but it might have like one tree. So it doesn't necessarily have to have that, as long as the bait's there. So I'm seeing a lot of bait. I'm coming up here and, you know, there's schools of bait around. There's a few fish on the bottom, nothing crazy, but it's enough to get me to put the trolling motor down and start scoping around and see if there's a few active fish. There's a couple isolated big trees out here, and the bait, you can see all this bait out here, it suspends over these trees, and that's all we're looking for is just, you know, deep ditches with, you know, off the main lake and that have timber or something that these fish can kind of set up on. And, you know, I kind of ride around and look for the bait, and that kind of tells me what I need to know. Nothing too crazy. It's a super simple way to target fish in the winter and, you know, have fun and still catches fish. All right, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed that little quick sesh. Just a quick couple tips on finesse swim bait fishing. Again, it's an overlook technique. That's an old school technique, but it still catches fish this time of year, and hopefully those few things help you guys. I had a great time. We're having a great time right now chasing them around on the spinning rod. So catch you guys later. Peace.